The Department of Human Services wants you to know this number, 1-800-799-SAFE. Why is that? Domestic violence. Let's talk about it. Welcome to My Healthy Mind. I'm Michael Hunter, your host, and this is my co-host, Elizabeth Atkins.
Welcome.
Our show is designed to bring topics to the forefront that people have traditionally considered taboo.
Right.
We get an opportunity, Elizabeth, to bring those topics to the forefront and really make sure that people are talking about things to help others heal.
Yes.
Real people, real problems.
Yes, I love that. My Healthy Mind is a safe forum for real people to come together and learn and heal and talk about issues that are taboo, scary, embarrassing, and things that usually make us clam up and be too afraid to discuss. But when we bring them out in the open, we welcome healing and we can seek help, and we're going to provide the resources for people to get help.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you said the word healing, because when people hear the stories from our guests, they get an opportunity to realize that they too can overcome and recover from whatever the ailment is, just like our guest did.
And Michael, our guests today are going to provide such powerful testimony about our human ability to change and improve our lives. Wait till you hear some of their stories.
Wow, I remember Sabrina telling us about her story, a little bit, something about a gun to her head.
Yes, not only did Sabrina Miller overcome domestic abuse, but she also overcame addiction and mental illness, and now she's on a mission to help others. And that's the whole beauty of our show, My Healthy Mind, because it shows you can heal, and then you can make it your life mission to help others. So as soon as we come back from this commercial break, we get to hear these inspiring stories and hear from our expert who's going to arm all of us with tools that we can use on a daily basis to empower ourselves. We'll be right back.
One more hour burns, so scared of his return that I can't sleep tonight. In this hospital life.
We have 3 beautiful children, and everything you do or say to me, they take pictures with their minds, and I want to put a stop to that.
Sometimes I have thoughts of killing you. You know that?
Go ahead. You're doing me a favor.
Alex was the only one that knew the secrets.
Boy, why don't you leave that girl alone for you mess around and get her pregnant?
Why do you have so many boyfriends?
They all treat me nice.
When they ever treated you to anything? Only time they come around here is when they want one thing.
No! No!
You eat so damn much, why can't you choke on something? You're just a fat, disgusting excuse for a kid, and I ought to smack you!
I should have died instead. They were right.
No, you have. Life is worth living.
I have every type of abuse in there.
Yeah. Verbal, physical, sexual, mental.
You name it, it's in that room. You see, after years of abuse, you lose yourself.
Miss Vivica. Miss Vivica.
Cause this time, it's the last time. I know that my eyes have seen too much. This nightmare is not fair, and I've had enough. You break me. Did you say you're sorry? You call this love, but this time your lies are not enough. This time.
I know you've been through some hell and high water, but I see a turnaround right now. You will be silent no more.
Stress, depression, and severe mental illness can happen to anyone. Team Mental Health Services has been helping those struggling with these conditions in southeastern Michigan. Within 24 hours of reaching out to our team, members receive psychiatric evaluations and begin the necessary treatment for recovery. Team Mental Health Services prides itself on going the extra mile for its members.
And it was towards the 6th court date. I finally stood up and said, I can handle this process the rest of the way. And it was all because of the motivation and encouragement I got from Team Mental Health staff.
Team Mental Health Services, because we care and you can.
Welcome back to My Healthy Mind, where we're talking about overcoming trauma and terrors, especially from a female point of view. And we're joined by LaWanda Dickens from Girls for Global Growth. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And LaWanda, you were going to tell us a little bit about what is Girls for Global Growth.
Girls for Global Growth is a nonprofit prevention organization for middle and high school girls in Detroit. And we offer leadership, training, and mentoring services.
And what inspired you to start a nonprofit for girls?
It was a combination of two factors. One, I'm the mother of two daughters, ages 15 and 11. And another, I'm also a survivor of abuse. And throughout my childhood, I witnessed my mother fall victim to that issue. And it was a cycle that I continued into my adulthood when I made poor relationship choices. Wow. And I realized the need to set a better standard for my girls, and Girls for Global Growth is one of the ways that I decided to do that.
LaWanda, what infuriates me is the messages we get from music and movies and all the media that devalues girls and treats girls and women as objects. So how is your work countering that mentality?
We counteract that issue in 4 different ways. One is during our mentoring season, which runs from September through June of each year, we offer them monthly leadership workshops. A second service that we provide is routine writing projects. We get them involved also in community service. And then there's quite a bit of recreational engagement for social growth.
Excellent.
And for the writing piece, have you seen good outcomes for how they're developing their mindset about their life with writing?
I think we have. And one of the things that I've been really proud of is we recently added a blog to our website. The blog is called Magnolias for Girls. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the concept behind the magnolia flower, but in the South, women who are perceived as very powerful and enduring and strong, they're nicknamed Magnolias.
Ooh.
And so that's where the name came from.
Love that.
And so when we launched the blog, we told the girls, this is a site that's named after your mothers, which is we have a very, very strong parenting organization that's headed up by our moms. And so we just feature stories that are, I think, conducive to the growth of girls. But each time a story launches on the blog, we text the girls and let them know, and I think the responses have been really good from them in terms of their logging on and providing commentary or comments to those stories. We get them involved in poetry writing, where we put them in a forum with local college students, and they interview them. And they use the data from those exchanges to write short narratives about the college students. We also hold an annual cover letter and resume writing workshop, which I think is very helpful because 50%, I would say, of our girls are high school students, and they're prepping for college and jobs and scholarship opportunities.
LaWanda, this is such an empowering program. I want to commend you for doing this and for joining us to share this so more people can learn about Girls for Global Growth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stress, depression, and severe mental illness can happen to anyone. Team Mental Health Services has been helping those struggling with these conditions in southeastern Michigan. Within 24 hours of reaching out to our team, members receive psychiatric evaluations and begin the necessary treatment for recovery. Team Mental Health Services prides itself on going the extra mile for its members.
And it was towards the 6th court date. I finally stood up and said, I can handle this process the rest of the way. And it was all because of the motivation and encouragement I got from Team Mental Health staff.
Team Mental Health Services, because we care and you can.
The people here actually care about you and your future and what you become after you graduate high school.
Loyola's mission is to turn out good young men.
Loyola is a place to help us grow.
A smaller setting and more one-on-one.
Give you that one-on-one attention that you don't normally get.
Making sure that the student is taken care of spiritually, educationally, and physically.
I focus more at this school than I did all my other schools.
By the time they get to about the 10th or 11th grade, they're basically bonded like brothers.
If you're looking for a brotherly love or someone to lean on or get in touch with and talk to personally, this school is the perfect place to go.
Welcome back to My Healthy Mind. I'm Elizabeth Atkins, and this is my co-host, Michael Hunter. Today, we're talking about shattering the silence around terror and trauma that women endure and survive and get stronger and reach out to help other women. We are joined by a phenomenal person, Sabrina Miller. We're so proud to have you here today because you're welcome. Your story is phenomenal. It's a story where you endured a triple threat of mental illness, addiction, and domestic abuse. So Sabrina, will you please tell us your story?
I want to say it started in 1994. I thought I was living a structured lifestyle. It wasn't until I got myself involved in a relationship with a gentleman for 2 years. At that time, I had a young daughter. I want to say I had life in the palm of my hands. I was young. I had the convenient lifestyle. I also was under the influence of drugs, marijuana. That seemed to make me feel I had it all together. I felt like I had no needs. Everybody was okay, bills were paid. There's nothing wrong with this. It wasn't until a bad incident with him where he displayed a weapon. He put that to my head. He was in, yes, a gun. He was in dislike of a decision I chose to make. At the time, I maneuvered away from him, which he was familiar with me not maneuvering away from him. And that one time I made that step, it became unsafe for my child, my young daughter. She had to step in and defend me during the altercation with the weapon being placed in my head. Weapon ready to go, meaning armed, ready to fire. My daughter had to call the police in hopes of me gaining some help. At the time of the police arriving, the gentleman did not want to end the altercation. He then held me a little hostage for a moment. I would say as long as it took the police to get inside the apartment. Upon them making it there, I was refusal to assist. I thought of retaliation. I thought of the safety of my child. I thought of my livelihood afterwards. It wasn't until they told me, we're going to take your daughter from you if you do not cooperate. It wasn't until he came to me verbally firm that I realized my daughter is more important than this situation right now going on. It meant more. At that time, they did not. They allowed me a court date, which the state of Michigan intervened, protective services. At that time, that gave me an opportunity to gain services that I felt I might need before court, preparing myself, such as parenting classes, psych eval, mental treatment, period, because hearing from word of mouth, that's what my friends stated I would need prior to my first court date.
So you were able to bring yourself out of it with help from getting, what did you get, therapy? Did you get, what services did you get?
At first, I thought he was just going to stop at the intake session, Mike. Unfortunately, the day seemed really long. I was still trying to live my convenient lifestyle. And they kept saying, no, you can't go. You got to see a therapist. You know, I have to see a care coordinator. And don't forget, you got to see a psychiatrist in case something might be wrong. There's something wrong, you have to see a psychiatrist. I wasn't forced. I was welcomed. And it gave me time to think. It gave me opportunity to come back if that's what I had to do. But I didn't go anywhere. So from there, I met with the therapist, case manager, they call them care coordinators now, and then a psychiatrist. And I now see my therapist once a week and my psychiatrist once a month.
And did you get your children back?
I now have 3 children, all girls, 1 in college, and I am a single mother of all 3 of them, and I'm not involved in relationships. So no man has played a role in their happiness right now.
So Sabrina, what's your advice to other people who are struggling, who are at the bottom? And real quick, we have to wrap up your amazing story, but if just 2 things you can tell people.
Keep it simple.
Okay.
And ask for help.
Ask for help.
Ask for help, regardless how bad it may seem.
Okay.
Or it may make your self-esteem or whatever you got going on there, just move it to the side and just ask for help just a little bit.
Excellent. Thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for sharing
Thank
your
you.
powerful story.
Do people here actually care about you and your future and what you become after you graduate high school?
Loyola's mission is to turn out good young men.
Loyola is a place to help us grow.
A smaller setting and more one-on-one.
Give you that one-on-one attention that you don't normally get.
Making sure that the student is taken care of spiritually, educationally, and physically.
I focus more at this school than I did all my other schools.
By the time they get to about the 10th or 11th grade, they're basically bonded like brothers.
If you're looking for a brotherly love or someone to lean on or get in touch with and talk to personally, this school is the perfect place to go.
Stress, depression, and severe mental illness can happen to anyone. Team Mental Health Services has been helping those struggling with these conditions in southeastern Michigan. Within 24 hours of reaching out to our team, members receive psychiatric evaluations and begin the necessary treatment for recovery. Team Mental Health Services prides itself on going the extra mile for its members.
And it was towards the 6th court date. I finally stood up and said, I can handle this process the rest of the way. And it was all because of the motivation and encouragement I got from Team Mental Health staff.
Team Mental Health Services, because we care and you can.
Welcome back to My Healthy Mind. We're joined with our special guest, Jerry Coy, who is a clinical therapist, and you're going to talk to us about how victims of terror and trauma survive such an ordeal. Welcome, Jerry.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
We're thrilled to have you.
One of the things that I've encountered in my career working with people who suffer from trauma and tragedy is that their self-esteem takes a tremendous battering. Yeah. And one of the things that makes treatment possible and successful is an individual gaining a sense of, I don't deserve this. I didn't invite this. I didn't choose this. I don't need this. And I deserve to feel better. So when we see people coming into treatment for the first time, what we hear often is, I'm tired of feeling this way. It's not fair. I don't want to continue feeling like this. I want to get my life back on track, or even better, I want to restart my life and pick a new direction.
Yes, love that. And you give them the tools. What are some of the tools that you give them to do that?
One of the most important things I like to start with in treatment is helping an individual believe that they deserve better. They need to feel that they're not required to accept what comes along. That
You know, I'm glad you say that because the guests we had on previously both said that they felt like they were to blame. Like, what did I do wrong in order to get this kind of treatment?
Mm-hmm. So having an individual believe that I'm entitled to better is really the first start of successful treatment. So I work with them to look at the things they enjoyed before the trauma happened, to develop a sense of what their dreams were, what they'd like to do now if anything's possible, and what choices have held them back from that.
Love that. So how do you help rewrite the mental script if someone has been physically, psychologically, or emotionally abused and those vile words are still in their head, those emotions are still inside them, how do you help them reprogram their brains to have that sense of empowerment?
One of the things that I try to do is help them develop an awareness and a perspective on being successful and appreciated, so that they can say, yeah, I'd like to be successful, I'd like to have a business, I'd like to have a family, and then we come to a point where what keeps you from reaching out for that? Because everyone is entitled to opportunities and happiness. And sometimes the choices we've made in the past didn't work out, and that's okay. Failure can be a stairway to success if we accept that mistakes are part of what builds our character and prepares us for success.
And the codependency piece, like, because they were describing that they feel like they're still connected to this person, even though the person has been, very violent towards them. How do they get past that, those kind of hurdles?
One of the things that we encourage them to do is to build some new dreams, some new hobbies, and some new leisure interests. We may have people pick up gardening, take on a pet, doing volunteer work, find a faith affiliation that fulfills them, go to the art museum, develop some new film interest. And what they discover is that they can recreate themselves in ways that they weren't allowed to pursue in the past. One of the things that I mention often is our Detroit Institute of Arts has a free learning to draw class. People just need to show up. And as I tell the members I work with, I'm happy doing basically stick figures because it relaxes me and it helps me feel okay. So people who say, man, that's just a stick figure. Yeah, but that's my stick figure.
Right, right.
I love what you said, Jerry, about recreating yourself. Recreating yourself from this victim to this triumphant person. So what are 3 things a person can do on a daily basis, in addition to all these things, that recreate themselves?
One of the strategies that I offer to a lot of men and women is having a Post-it note on the mirror with an affirmation on it that says, I am somebody,
yes,
I count, and my opinion matters.
Oh, I love that.
And I tell them I can picture myself doing that and feeling awkward and silly, and that's okay because the message still gets through. And then during the day, we have to check ourselves to find out if the people we're choosing to be around are positive, and if we're in life-affirming situations instead of life-denying situations.
And do you find that those techniques are working and people find them successful? And if so, how often should a person anticipate being in treatment or therapy for that?
It depends on the member truly, because one of the first things that we do at Team is help people to decide what will better feel like and what will it look like for me. It's critical to me as a therapist that the people I serve say, hey, I think I'm well enough now. Because when they tell me, well, you're the one that judges when I'm well enough, no, that's something that we're dissolving because you need to be the navigator of your own success.
Jerry, these are such powerful tools that you're offering to our viewers. We really, really appreciate that you're here and all the great work that you do.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Stress, depression, and severe mental illness can happen to anyone. Team Mental Health Services has been helping those struggling with these conditions in southeastern Michigan. Within 24 hours of reaching out to our team, members receive psychiatric evaluations and begin the necessary treatment for recovery. Team Mental Health Services prides itself on going the extra mile for its members.
And it was towards the 6th court date. I finally stood up and said, I can handle this process the rest of the way. And it was all because of the motivation and encouragement I got from Team Mental Health staff.
Team Mental Health Services, because we care and you can.
The people here actually care about you and your future and what you become after you graduate high school.
Loyola's mission is to turn out good young men.
Loyola is a place to help us grow.
A smaller setting and more one-on-one.
Give you that one-on-one attention that you don't normally get.
making sure that the student is taken care of spiritually, educationally, and physically.
I focus more at this school than I did all my other schools.
By the time they get to about the 10th or 11th grade, they're basically bonded like brothers.
If you're looking for a brotherly love or someone to lean on or get in touch with and talk to personally, this school is the perfect place to go.
Welcome back to My Healthy Mind. Now it's time to hear from our viewers in our Let's Talk with Our Viewers segment. Michael, I have a question from our Facebook page from John Paul. He wants to know, if I suspect that my brother is experiencing a mental illness, where can I call to get help for him?
Great question. The first thing you want to do is, if the person is in a medical emergency, you want to dial 911. If not, you can reach out to an organization like Teen Wellness Center. And Teen Wellness Center can be reached at 313-396-5300. We also have a question that came in from Jessica, and she asked, what if my family member cannot sit through an entire intake session because of what they're experiencing?
Jessica, the evaluation process during intake to get help for mental illness is extremely important, and we have to meet the person where they are. So we need them to feel comfortable. So sometimes taking them to a new environment, the park, a coffee shop, going out for ice cream, taking them to an environment where they'll feel comfortable enough to open up and relax and talk about what's ailing them is key. I have another question for you. Gwyn on our Twitter page wants to know, are there any mental exercises that you can recommend to assist with keeping your mind healthy?
Yes. One of the things that you can do to keep your mind healthy is to read. Become an avid reader where you're reading something every day. It'll pull you away from the television sometimes, but you got to begin to read again. The other thing that you can do is start using your memory for phone numbers instead of referencing your smartphones.
Love those.
Okay, and we have one more question from Tracy that says, if I'm on a collegiate budget, where can I find fresh fruits and vegetables?
Ooh, I love that question. Well, I shop every Saturday at Eastern Market. I get all my fresh fruits, vegetables, and herbs, and I stock up, and I spend so little money you wouldn't believe it. So my advice to you is shop at a farmer's market because the prices are way cheaper than the grocery store. Secondly, buy what's in season because they're more abundant and lower priced. Third, make sure you pack the most powerful nutritional punch by buying things that are super nutritious like kale.
Great answer. And you know, one good thing about our show is everything affects our mind.
Yes.
And we're learning that more and more.
Yes, especially food.
Yes, and we'd like to hear from you. So make sure you hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, and on our website at myhealthymind.com. And we will see you next time on My Healthy Mind.